I'm not going to teach today because, well, Pastor Caleb called me yesterday morning and said just be on standby because, he had been attacked in his body. So all day and all night, not all night, I did go to bed, but most of the evening, I was just before the Lord. Because when an opportunity is given to me to speak to the people of God, it really is a heavy thing for me. I don't take it lightly. As a matter of fact, I get emotional even talking about that. Because every time I do, I feel the love of God for the saints. And we are all so precious to Him that it causes a sobriety in me. And that's what you hear. And so I was very patient with trying to hear from the Lord on what to teach, what to share, what do you want done, what do you want done. And there were a few things I was like, okay. And everything I felt that was cultivated, I felt like it was forced. And I know my Father well enough, and I said, Lord, what is going on? What do you want? What do you want? And the Lord said this to me today. He said, I don't want you to teach the word, I want you to release the word. Meaning, release the word of God in the Spirit to you. Release, I'm going to be ministering, not just speaking. And so I just want you to posture your hearts in such a way because what the Lord wants to minister today is deliverance. He said to me, deliverance before delivery. And last week we had an amazing service. And we've been having amazing services, and it's not just about the services. We've been having an amazing movement in the body and in the spirit. And we're going to continue to do that. And the Lord is taking us where we need to be, where He wants us to be. And one of the songs that we did was Make Room. And that's a precious song. And we talked about making room for Him, whatever you want to do. I'm making room for you. See, the way the kingdom's set up is we're the ones with our thumb on the button, really. Everything's already been provided, but we're the ones that supply our will to allow what's already been provided to come to pass in the earth and in our lives. And so today, your finger's on your button. And I just want to exhort you to be open to the heart of the Father who wants us free. He wants us free. And to receive freedom, we have to be humble to do that. Sometimes it makes me so angry that pride stands in our way. And Pastor Miriam referred to that last week a little bit when she said, please don't let something keep you from coming. And so often one of the plots of the enemy is to make you feel like, you're the only one feeling what you're feeling or going through what you're going through, struggling with whatever that you know is not the will of God. You already know that by the Spirit. I don't have to convince you. Things in your life that you know are harming or hindering you. And he'll try to tell you that you're the only one, or you may think, well, maybe not that, but you might think that if I go up, then it's like it's the fear of man. If I let anybody see that I have any kind of need, then others are going to think less of who I am. And that is such a plot of the enemy, that we will stay in our shackles all day long defending why we can't be free. And we've got to get past that, and it just takes humility. That's all it is, and we're made for humility. We're made for meekness. We're made to say yes to Jesus, because in that place, it's power. And so I want to just kind of throw that out there, because the Lord's, he has said a few things to me, but He's given me 4 areas particularly that He wants to minister to freedom in. But before I do that, I just want to say we were at home group this past Wednesday, and we got in some really good discussion about what happened on Sunday because it was so powerful. And one of the things that was said, Brother Carroll brought up the memory of the prophecy that went forth for 2019, that this would be our finest year. And I want those words to ring out to you. And we talked about it in home group a little bit because what he brought up was that for some, it did not seem like a benchmark year. There have been afflictions, there's been things that have been hard things to get around and to deal with. And I would wager to say that if I asked the majority of you and me, are there things that you've struggled with this year, you would probably say yes. But the Lord went before us and he said, this will be your finest year. And his words don't fall to the ground void. So we have to respond to the truth that's in those words. We had some good discussion about the growth that has happened. And even in the word that Prophet Meinrad gave, he talked about underground growth that wouldn't be that visible on top, but it's definitely happening. And some of us talked about, even in the hardship, there's been such growth from the pressure. There's been such growth and connection and change and transformation. It just hasn't had time to bear fruit yet, but it's already happened. It's already happening in the soil. And that was part of that prophetic word. And so we talked, and as we were talking about this, we were talking about, kind of up to this point, or, this was the year, and I heard the Lord say, if I were sitting in this room with you right now, which he was, but sometimes we are just so clueless that he is. He's right here. He's moving in the spirit here. But he said to me, so it could be visual. If I were sitting before you right now and you were looking me right in the eyes and I told you, you've got a month and a half left of 2019. What can you expect from me that this would be your finest year yet? And when he said that, I was gravely aware that we kind of just go, it's already over in our thinking. It's like we're already on to 2020's coming, and I would, if I asked for a show of hands of how many of y'all have even thought about the prophetic word from 2019 recently, there probably might not be very many hands, I'm guessing, but maybe not. That's what we do. We forget because we don't use what we're given. And so when that word was brought up and the Lord said it to me like that, like if I'm sitting right in front of you, Kellye, and I'm looking you right in the eyes, and I say, what can you believe me for? I said this over you. Has this been your finest year yet? Well, no, not really. Well, what can you still engage with me in? See, he's always so gracious to hold out there to us. And I was gravely aware that I couldn't grab my mind around all I wanted to believe. It was like things started firing off inside of me, and then right alongside them firing off, it was almost like impossibility, impossibility, impossibility. That's the voice of the enemy. Yeah. Psh, 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 psh. The Lord himself is saying, what can you ask of me? I'm gonna let it happen. What can you believe for your church? What can you believe for your family, for your life, for your business? What can you believe for? What can you ask me for? And I was so small in my thinking. And so I said that to say, we're going to come back to that. Because the Lord said, that's when he brought to me when I'm thinking this weekend, and that thing that the Lord asked me there at home group, it bugged me all weekend. It's still bugging me in a good way. Because I realized how many dreams makes me mad. How many dreams I let go of or parked. because of disappointment, because of the natural. And I was aware that the Lord said it's time to excavate some stuff. It's time to be delivered from that. It's time to think again and dream again and expect from me great things. Will you? I've said it. I mean it. So I'm letting that just launch out over you because you've got your own things that you've maybe let go of and you haven't thought about or you've never dreamed in or have been impossibilities and they've just been something you've accommodated that the Lord wants to get rid of. And so as I was thinking about it this weekend, that's when he said to me, I want to do something different tomorrow. And that's why I couldn't hear a teaching of any sort. I want to do something different. Deliverance. Daughter comes before delivery. And the body needs deliverance from the stuff that's held them back so I can deliver the stuff I want to get to them. Make room. Make room. Andrea stood up here last week and she said, be careful what you're asking for, because we say, tear down the walls of all my religion. Break up, shake up the ground of all my tradition. Your way's better. Your way is better. And even moving in this kind of a service, when we move and we lay hands on people and we see things happen, it's a different kind of day. It's a different kind of thing. It's not just, okay, 3, songs and all. It's not that. It's not that. And it's having to go, Lord, what do you want? And feeling completely like if you don't show up, we're dry. And he says, that's exactly where I need you to be. He's showed up, he's showing up, and he's going to show up. It's time today for our deliverance from the things that have held us back. And I exhort you in it. And I want you to begin to think about your own freedom. What would it look like if you were really free in every area to receive everything Jesus has for you? Instead of accommodating the things we've learned to walk with, the limps we've learned to walk with.